Hello, everyone, and welcome to this special event that's been put together for the National Business Aviation Association's big annual event coming up in the middle of October that is going to be featuring safety as a core area of messaging, specifically related to the Single Pilot Safety Stand Down and the National Safety Forum. To kick things off today, President and CEO of the National Business Aviation Association, Ed Boland, is going to join us to share his thoughts not only on industry aviation safety, but the role of safety at the NBAA, and have a few comments on these events of Single Pilot Safety Stand Down of the National Safety Forum. So let's go ahead and get going with Ed Boland, then we'll get into the leadership team that's leading those events at the big annual session this year.
Well, first of all, BJ, let me thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about safety. You know, NBAA was founded back in 1947. 19 individuals representing 19 different companies came together for the purpose of fostering an environment that will allow business aviation to thrive. And when that first group met in 1947, their top focus was safety. They understood that for business aviation to thrive, it has to be safe and it has to be perceived to be safe. And so throughout our more than 7 decades of experience, NBAA has continued to foster an environment that allows business aviation to thrive by working to make sure business aviation is safe and perceived to be safe. Now, there are a lot of things that come with the challenge of being safe and being perceived to be safe. One of those is making sure we reach people with what they need to understand safety, to improve in safety, to constantly grow, develop, and evolve. And I think one of the things that really is interesting is to see how our operating environment and the types of aircraft we all use evolves and adapts. Today we have a multitude more types of aircraft flying vastly different ranges. And that's why it's so important for an organization like NBAA to make sure that we are understanding the size and the scope and the diversity of operations that are taking place, and also provide information that is accessible and usable to all. So NBAA is soon approaching the National Business Aviation Association's Business Aviation Convention and Exhibition. NBAA BACE is the world's largest business aviation event. And so, exactly as you would expect, foundational to the entire event is safety. We're going to begin on Monday with the single pilot safety focus, and we're going to work to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to surface risk that are inherent to everybody operating on the ground, to help them understand mental health, certainly an issue that has been top of mind to everyone, particularly since COVID, and something that has become a front and center issue for our industry. And NBA has been working to make it so. We're also going to focus on circling approaches, making sure that we understand, as the risk associated with this are very real, that we have training that helps us understand that. And of course, the transition to more complex aircraft. All of that is going to be focused in a single pilot safety stand down that's going to be followed by a small operator symposium. And then as we go through the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we're going to be very focused with a number of key programs that are going to take place in our Safety Education Center, culminating in the National Safety Forum that takes place on Thursday. So this will give us an opportunity to really focus on a multitude of different operations, talking about issues like SMS, mental health, and making sure that we all understand what excellence looks like and how we can live it every day. To that end, one of the things that we like to do at NBAA is recognize excellence and celebrate it. And so we'll be handing out a number of awards, including the Flight Department Safe Flying Awards that are going to look at companies that have been flying 50, 60, even 70 years of safe operations. We'll be recognizing the Tony Kern Professionalism Award winners. And this year, we will also be presenting our Above and Beyond Award, something that is done from time to time when we see excellence in business aviation. And this year, we're going to present it to Sydney Bosman, who was the flight attendant that helped get the survivors of the accident that took place in Naples off the airplane and to safety. So these are some of the ways that we're going to utilize this incredible platform that is NBAA BACE to focus intently on the fundamental foundational priority of our industry, which is safety. And we're excited for everyone to be a part of that. We're going to be focusing not just on how we reach the people that are very interested in this topic, but also how do you reach the unreachables? Because the reality is safety is all of our issue. And our industry is constantly judged by what people see in the news related to aviation and aviation safety. So BJ, I'm so grateful to you and the Safety Committee for putting together a remarkable agenda once again. And I'm looking forward to welcoming everybody to Las Vegas as we bring the business aviation community together to celebrate who we are, where we are, and where we're going in safety and in every other respect.
Well, thank you, Ed. I think those words were exactly what this particular group needed to hear to better understand NBAA. And so they may not realize that your safety committee has a full 80 members committed to safety and really doing everything it takes to align with what the wishes of not only the NBAA are, but the industry and the needs being demonstrated out there that you mentioned so eloquently. So maybe one question would be, since this initiative really is to connect with parts of the aviation industry that may not be aware of NBAA, how can folks interface with or learn more about the NBAA from your perspective? If you had that elevator conversation, what would you tell somebody?
Well, we've got a vast array of volunteers from all across the world who help NBAA understand key issues, including safety, security, sustainability, operating excellence. All of these things are given to our community through experts who volunteer their time and their attention to make sure that we can find best practices, package them, and distribute them widely. So NBAA is a terrific organization, and you can go to nbaa.org and find a remarkable level of resources no matter what your issues are. We've got a tremendous volunteer group that focuses on every facet of aviation, and we can learn from everybody that cares so much and brings so much expertise and passion to our industry and our association.
Wonderful. That's great, Ed. So I'm actually going to springboard off that to promote the safety side of it. NBAA.org/safety has tremendous resources as well, and that's a short way to get there to get access to those. Well, Ed, thank you so much for your time. We know we have the team standing by here to go through the details of the Single Pilot Safety Stand Down and the National Safety Forum and have a great discussion on the wonderful things that NBAA does every single day to support aviation around the world. So thank you, sir, for your time today. It's wonderful to have you here.
Well, BJ, thank you for all you do for this association and this industry. You're constantly working to make us better and safer. And for that, we're very, very grateful.
Thank you, Ed. It's our pleasure and my pleasure. Have a great day.
You do too.
Well, as I look across the chat streams on the multiple channels here, I see we are getting that worldwide participation. all the way from the United Kingdom across the United States to the major air carriers. So it's really nice to see that engagement. Let's go ahead and get right into our discussion today. And with me, I have Dan Botheimer, the Vice Chairman, soon to be the Chairman of the NBAA Safety Committee with me. He's also the Chief Safety Officer at Advanced Aircrew Academy. And Dan's going to be leading the first part of the session on those events, Single Pilot Safety Stand Down and National Safety Forum. Before we go to him, I'd also like to introduce Mark Larson, who is our staff liaison on the NBAA Safety Committee, just doing all the heavy lifting, making it all come together and all work every day. So Mark is really the key to making everything happen for us. And of course, he is with the NBAA. So welcome, guys. Dan, any quick comments? And then over to Mark, then we'll circle back to you to bring everybody in to start the conversation.
No, I'm very excited for our events, our safety events in Las Vegas at NBAA BACE. Ed mentioned, safety is really a foundation. And so we're going to make safety content, educational content, front and center at BACE. So I'm happy to introduce here shortly our two experts who are leading those two main sessions.
Okay, Mark, any comments here? We know we're going to bring you back in a little bit. I just wanted to get up front to make sure everybody knows you're here and that you're going to be adding some wonderful insights later on promotion and communication.
Absolutely. Pleased to be with you all and to be with the whole team putting this event together today. Looking forward to BACE as well and happy to share some further details as we get to that point in our program for today. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Mark. Okay, Dan, over to you. Who would you like to bring in first? And I'll bring them in one at a time if you like.
Very good. Let's bring in Rosalie Argonaut Singer. Rosalie is the Vice President of Flight Operations for Textron Aviation. She has been leading our single pilot safety stand down for many years. And the content there is every year is just amazing. I fly in a crew environment, but every time I attend the single pilot safety stand down, there's information for all aviators at that particular event, although it is really highlighting what the specific safety issues are in that single pilot world. So we'll be listening to Rosalie in just a minute here, talking about the specifics of that single pilot safety stand down. And then from Rosalie, we'll be transitioning and adding in Gil Lopez. Gil is the Vice President of Operations for Leviate Air Group. And he's going to talk about the National Safety Forum. And so the National Safety Forum is a multi-day event. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of BACE, educational content and awards for that. So we'll be coming back to Gil to talk about the specific sessions related to that. So BJ, let's start off with our single pilot safety stand down. And all of this safety education content is going to be in what we call our Safety Education Center. That's room W212 in that Las Vegas Convention Center. This year, NBAA BACE in Las Vegas is going to be contained within a single hall. It's the West Hall. It was new a few years ago. It's a beautiful facility, and we've got that dedicated room with 4 days of that safety education content. Now, the single pilot safety stand down is unique that it's going to kick off before the exhibition hall is open on Tuesday. So plan your travel to get in early to be able to join us on Monday morning in that Safety Education Center. And over to you, Rosalie, to talk about the specifics of what we're going to cover within that half day of education sessions.
Awesome. Thanks for that intro, Dan. So with a lot of tremendous support from NBAA, the Single Pilot Working Group has worked hard to bring our audience industry experts that have packaged data, case studies, and insights really into digestible content that should provide lessons learned and takeaways that could be added to their flying toolkit. And this year, we've really honed in on several important issues facing the industry right now. So we're kicking off with Bridget Singratanical and Ingrid Rinker with a session focused on surface risk in the National Airspace System. So Bridget and Ingrid are with NATCA and the FAA respectively. Both have a focus in their daily work on runway safety. Unfortunately, of course, we've heard a lot about runway incursions and near misses over the last couple of years. And this segment's going to walk us through the risks as defined by the data and real world events with a special focus on single pilot operations. So next up, we have Matt McNeil with Lift Effect. Matt, another individual very well known in the industry. He's an experienced mental health professional and former airline pilot. And his practice is focused specifically on supporting pilots as they navigate challenges with mental health. So Matt's session will offer guidance on working through those types of challenges, both from a clinical perspective as well as a legal perspective. And we know there's been a lot of changes happening with the medical process on the FAA's part and with the work done by NBAA through the ARC. So we're going to dive into all of that for our attendees. Our third session, another very timely session, offers a deep dive on circling approaches. So this has been, again, top of mind in the industry with some tragic, relatively recent case studies. But we have Rich Bohl and Mark Kleinhans. Those guys are going to co-present for us. And we're going to start with the nuts and bolts of circling approaches, what protections are offered and what are not. And then we'll move to more the practical application of this knowledge and how to operate safely with a firm understanding of the unique challenges associated with that maneuver. And then we're rounding out the day with a session focused on navigating the many transitions a pilot may work through during their flying career, whether they're transitioning from one airframe to another, getting into a cockpit with different avionics, or even maybe moving from an operation in a two-crew environment into a single pilot environment. So we really have something for everyone. Like Dan said, we do hone in on the single pilot perspective, but really this content is applicable for anyone who occupies the left seat. So a lot of great stuff on that Monday morning leading up to BACE, solid content, really focused on arming the audience with great intel with the hope of helping folks assess and address the risks they face as they operate.
Awesome, Rosalie, and I'm really excited to see another single pilot safety stand down there. They're always just such great events, and nice job with Bridget's name. I got to co-present at Bridget with the Flight Safety Foundation Business Aviation Safety Summit this spring. And she brought that message of runway safety from the air traffic controller perspective. And there's just such great feedback from getting that air traffic control perspective into it. And she's just a wonderful presenter. So excited to see that again. And Rich Bohl, wow, Rich is one of my, anytime I have a question that I can't find the answer to, I know Rich can answer it. He's just got such a depth of knowledge and able to, I think of him as somebody that can take a complex subject and really explain it to me at a level as a pilot I can understand. And so, yeah, looking forward to hearing from him. And then Lou Nemeth with CAE, always an excellent presenter on that piece of it. So, yeah, really a great lineup of presenters at the Single Pilot Safety Stand Down. And I'll certainly look forward to attending that this year. And thank you for putting that together and such exciting content. So,
yes, of course.
Gil, we'll turn it over to you. We're also going to have the National Safety Forum, that educational content in that Safety Education Center, room W212 in that Las Vegas Convention Center West Hall, which is that same hall that has the exhibitors, as well as everything NBAA BACE related to that. The National Safety Forum is going to be 3-day contents, a total of 8 sessions. So we've got 3 sessions going on Tuesday, 3 sessions on Wednesday afternoon, and then we'll wrap it all up Thursday morning. So Gil, please share with us the details of what's going to be included within the National Safety Forum, which you're leading for us this year.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dan. And it is an incredible honor to serve as the lead for the National Safety Forum in 2024. I'm happy to share that, as you mentioned, the event will be held in conjunction with NBAA. So from October 22nd through the 24th, and over those 3 days, we'll have a total of 9 sessions. We'll cover everything from safety management systems, operational concerns, mental health, FAA certification updates. More than anything, I'm incredibly proud to mention that this event is a culmination of months of work by all 80 members of the safety committee. We've been working extremely hard to bring relevant content, and it is designed to be engaging, interactive, and most importantly, it provides an opportunity for us to push safety practices and elevate those safety standards within all business aviation. So getting started with some of the descriptions. So ignite your safety management system, getting off the ground. This will be your first session, and it is intended for small to mid-sized operators, and it's focusing on implementation and the components of SMS. So if you're somebody that's looking to implement SMS because of the recent regulation from the FAA, or you want to just adopt best practices from our industry, this is a session that we're recommending for everyone, no matter your position in business aviation. Spotlight on preventable accidents, learn from the past to protect the future. During this session, we'll look at preventable accidents and focus on key areas such as controlled flight into terrain, ground accidents, loss of control in flight, and runway safety. So this session is definitely packed with actionable strategies to safeguard operations and prevent such avoidable risks. Unlocking the power of safety data, real world-class case studies on FMN and FOQA and ASAP. So in this session, we'll dive into the power of safety data with real world-class studies and regarding flight data monitoring, FOQA, as well as ASAP. So perhaps you're a safety manager, ASAP gatekeeper, and you want to learn how to maximize the use of data to elevate your safety standards, then this will be the session for you. One session that's not listed on our slide, but it's incredibly important, we will have an FAA meeting, FAA SIS stakeholder meeting. So as we all know, collaboration is key, and this meeting with the FAA will provide resources on how to maximize programs that are out there, such as SIS, to improve and expand your safety standards within your organization. So in addition to that, this session will allow operators and anyone in attendance to contribute, ask questions directly from the regulators. Spotlight on operational concerns, tackling today's top threats. So this session will actually tackle 3 of today's top operational challenges, such as procedural deviations, staffing issues, and funding of safety expenditures. So these are all 2 common issues that we're all dealing with. And this discussion will provide strategies on how to navigate them. Navigating the skies of well-being, DFA's updates on mental health and medical certification. So as we all know, and as Rosalie described, mental health is a crucial aspect of aviation safety. So this session will provide updates from the FAA on mental health and medical certification policies, helping operators and the community to stay informed on the latest and greatest and advocate for the well-being of their team members within their flight department. Enhancing ground handling safety in business aviation. I'm particularly excited about this one. We have a remarkable professional that's a veteran in the industry, and we wanted to focus on ground handling. We understand that a lot of safety SMS has been focused on the operator side of things, and sometimes we tend to overlook, near misses on the ground, incidents and accidents. So we want to provide tools and resources to FBO managers, trip support providers, operators on how they can implement a safety management system to help achieve, comply with SMS implementation and get their system off the ground. We also have a session on elevate your SMS, taking your safety management system to higher flight levels. In this particular session, this is aimed towards operators who have a well-established SMS system, but they want to take it to the next level. So we're going to give actionable resources on how to use and how to implement those tools to, perhaps just increase their operations. And then, Dan, you will help us with leadership perspectives on aviation safety. But before I pass that over to you, this is just a glimpse of what we have in store for this year's National Safety Forum. So whether you're a pilot, scheduler, dispatcher, FBO manager, flight department manager, and accountable executive, we are really working hard to make sure that everybody in attendance gets some actionable knowledge that they can take back to their flight department, to their organization, and focus and implement an SMS system. We really encourage everyone to attend the NBAA BACE, engage in the National Safety Forum, and embrace our shared commitment to enhancing a safe environment where business aviation can thrive. Once again, thanks everyone. We look forward to seeing you in Vegas. And Dan, back to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Gil. And yeah, also thank you to Jason Karadimas, who helped us with the initial planning and design of the National Safety Forum. We really wrapped it around our top safety focus areas that we define within the safety committee. So every 2 years, we look at input from the NTSB, the FAA, industry, insurers, to identify what are the top safety focus areas that we want to work on to make business aviation safer within the safety committee. That really drove Jason's vision for the National Safety Forum. And we've got also some really great presenters of those sessions that Gil talked about. We have Amanda Ferrero with Aviation Safety Solutions and Mike Ott are going to lead our SMS sessions. As Gil talked about, we're going to have a, hey, SMS is new to me. How do I get started in developing an SMS program for my flight department? And then we're also going to look at it from the mature operator. I've been doing SMS for years, and how do I continuously improve and elevate that? So the 2 sessions, Tuesday and then Thursday morning, that Amanda and Mike are going to lead. I'm very excited for those. And then, of course, we've got the experts. Jeff Middleman with our safety data group presenting for that. Andy Day with Wyvern is going to run that preventable accident session with our working groups associated with that, including controlled flight and terrain and runway safety. And then Lee Rafelko with Cortiva, the operational concerns group. So really some great presenters along with the National Safety Forum and Single Pilot Safety Stand Down that are really going to provide some great safety content at NBAA BACE. So thank you for sharing those descriptions, Rosalie and Gil. And with that, I'll turn it back over to you, BJ.
Yeah, great, guys. I thought that was very informative. So, Rosalie, real quick question here before we move on to Mark and the communications team. You had mentioned when you and I chatted about how the single pilot safety stand down is really more than just for single pilots. You mentioned that briefly. Can you talk about that a little bit more, about how it's really for everybody?
Sure. Every year we've been able to hone in on how these different issues affect the single pilot specifically. But as you saw, all of those issues are really pertinent for any aviator. Again, talking about the risk of runway incursions and those near misses we've seen there, mental health. Again, very much top of mind, circling approaches. You add a little bit of layer of complexity when you're working through these things as a single pilot. But again, crews face these issues. Crews are exposed to these risks as well. So I think, again, any pilot or operator should find some value in each of these sessions.
Wonderful. And if anybody has any questions, they can put those in the chat and we'll get to those in about 15 minutes or so. Thank you, guys. We'll bring you back in for the Q&A a little later. Well, Dan, let's bring Mark in. Mark, I know that we have Dan Hubbard as well as Tim Wade coming in. Let's just go ahead and add those guys in right now. Here comes Dan and Tim. Dan, I'm going to pop you out of there a little bit, and we're going to go ahead and get Mark lead us off. So a big part of the NBAA initiative, and certainly especially on the safety comment, the challenge has always been getting the content out in a powerful way because of the hard work these members do. In fact, all the members of the NBAA and the community at large having great resources to get out to the industry, but it's all for naught if we can't get that out in a powerful way that's easily consumable. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about here. And so, Mark, let me just hand it over to you. I'll stand here if you like, but I think you guys might have an opportunity here to maybe talk about the processes you have in place and maybe the flow you want to proceed, or even what's going on for NBAA this year. So over to you, Mark.
Thanks, BJ, and happy to give some further insights into how the safety piece of the committee fits into NBAA's safety initiatives overall, and how we're getting that out to the industry. Maybe by way of a quick background, we're very much working to reduce accidents in business aviation, and so that's the kind of thing that it definitely extends more than just the 1 week of BACE. It's really designed to be a year-round activity in fully promoting safety within all of business aviation. and doing that in a way that meets folks where they are in their safety journey as well. So pleased to have Dan Hubbard, NBAA Senior Vice President of Communications with me, and Tim Wade, who leads the Safety Committee's Safety Promotions team, really is an integral partnership between the committee and NBAA staff to effectively get the committee's resources out, and that ultimately helps the industry address those identified hazards and risks as well. So with that, if I could maybe turn it to you, Dan, for just a second, give maybe just a little bit of a context for those that may not be familiar with BACE, for the safety content that we have, but maybe part of what else is happening over the course of the whole week, and then we'll bring it into further conversations around the committee and how we move this the rest of the year too.
Sure. Well, thanks, Mark. Why don't I just take a quick half step back? There's been a lot said about the industry. We want to be safe. We want to be perceived to be safe, as Ed said. I think people have spoken eloquently to that. But we are very fortunate in this industry that there is a real appetite for continuing safety learning. People understand it's not really a destination, it's a journey. What we're really kind of planning right now is the leg of the journey between now and NBAA BACE. And so it is good, really, that we gather the industry together for sessions like this one. So this year in particular, we're working on partnerships outside. Ed mentioned, and I've heard elsewhere, we want to get the ungettables or reach out to people we haven't before. And so we're looking at that in new and different ways. Partnerships like this one here today are very important in that regard. Also, we're working with the organizers of the Bombardier Safety Stand Down. NBAA has an annual event with them. We're working with the organizers of the Flight Safety Foundation's annual Business Aviation Safety Summit. NBAA partners with them as well. And we're looking for other opportunities as well. And that's because through those, we can kind of get outside of NBAA's own immediate membership, outside of our own ecosystem. And what we find is that throughout the year, safety content that NBAA generates is probably it generates the most engagement of any of the content we produce. People are very eager to understand the latest learnings, to understand the latest knowledge about root causes of accidents and incidents. So, Ed talked a minute ago about our website, and I thought this might be a good moment just to mention briefly what we do all the way throughout the year. So, for example, we have our magazine, which is Business Aviation Insider. Once a year, in fact, we have a whole magazine dedicated just to safety. It's our safety themed edition. It's our most popular edition all year. That's not a surprise to me. And most of the content is free to anybody because it's related to safety. You don't have to be an NBAA member in order to access that content. Again, as Ed said, available through our website. I heard earlier something that really registered with me. It's absolutely true. We've had a period where it's been noticeable, the incidents, the accidents, the near misses, et cetera. And so from among the regular webinars we produce, they are called the NBAA News Hour. Several of these in any given year focus on safety. We recently had one about best practices related to runways and incident avoidance. We had more than 500 people join us for that. So if you're not familiar with the NBAA NewsHour webinars, I would encourage you to tap into that as well. Again, right from the website or Google NBAA NewsHour, and you can join us for the next one. You don't have to be a member for that. And then the other thing I wanted to point to is we have a weekday morning email news roundup. It's called NBAA Insider Daily. If you don't subscribe, again, free, and you don't have to be an NBAA member. That's where I can really see more than any place else the safety content and the level of engagement with the safety content. We're able to tell in that daily news tip sheet who's looking at what, and safety far and away outpaces everything else that we have in there. So that's up to the moment information about safety. So I hope everyone will avail themselves of that. I guess one other thought I wanted to share before I hand back to you, Mark and Tim, is if you're with us as a part of our safety content at NBAA BACE this year, please consider just sharing that on social media. We are at hashtag NBAA 2024, so NBAA 2024. And whatever your experiences are, If there are takeaways you've had from a session, anything you would like for people to know, join in that conversation. We're on basically all of the major social media platforms. On a couple of them, we have tens of thousands of people, and I have heard in today's conversation, how do we reach people who might not otherwise be getting the message? Everyone here today can play an important part just by taking this small step, because over our social media channels, we're reaching people far outside of NBAA's membership. And especially when it comes to the convention, all eyes are on that show, including through social media. So please, if you have a moment and you think about it, you found a session particularly valuable, you may just want to give a tip of the hat on social media real quick. Mark, let me turn it back over to you and Tim.
Thanks, Dan. Incredible insights for the ways to get connected to us, and we'd certainly encourage everyone to do that as well. And so, Tim, if I can turn to you for kind of a perspective in the committee's engagement with NBAA more broadly and the development of those resources that help define those best practices. So over to you for some further insights there, if you would. Thanks.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I wanted to touch base on where does this incredible knowledge base actually come from. And I think BJ mentioned it earlier, that this is one of the most complex committees that NBAA hosts right now as the safety committee. We have over 80 members, and we work mainly right now on 4 main teams. But as they mentioned earlier, these teams will conform to change with the current climate of aviation. So right now, the 4 teams that we have are the preventable accidents team, the operational challenges team, operational concerns team, mitigation strategies team, and then the safety promotions team. And we use these to get the content built to present it up to the main NBAA comms team to see what they want to use for different articles, different podcasts, different interviews, things that they can utilize that would meet the current climate going out into the business aviation world. So the way this usually works is we, like I mentioned, have 80 members on our team, but we're also using these events that were just mentioned, Bombardier Safety Stand Down, BACE, ACSF, all of these events, to also look at subject matter experts in our field to either recruit into the safety committee, because the committee is always growing, but also to build up our subject matter expert database. So when these articles do come up, who's got great knowledge on SMS? Because we don't want to continue using the same people as well on every single article and get only one person's perspective. We want to broaden out the opinion base on everything going on within business aviation. So we'll use that subject matter expert knowledge database to reach out for different content, materials, articles, podcasts, so many different things that are going on. So the way promotions usually works within it, I like to, and I finally broadened my team out to another member, Miss Debbie Carpenter with ACSF. She's being an outstanding assist for this team. So we're doing really well with that. And we go around to all 4 of our teams that we have and see what everyone is working on and capsulate that and present it up to Dan Hubbard and his wonderful team to see what can go out to the main masses through media.
Excellent insights, Tim, on that. Really appreciate that. And you really touched, both you and Dan touched on another piece of this, that really we're working as part of that broader general aviation ecosphere to improve, all of general aviation safety, business aviation certainly being a key piece of that as well. So that's very much where some of the roles that I have as well too, as Director of Safety and Flight Operations, is being engaged with the General Aviation Joint Safety Committee, the SIS program, with other industry organizations as well too, really all trying to move everything forward and certainly serving as a center of safety leadership and excellence at NBAA as well too. So exciting stuff to come with all of that. Looking forward to really helping our industry out in this area with safety and reducing the accidents and incidents within business aviation. That's really key to our success and really allowing that business aviation to thrive in the United States and around the globe. So maybe any final thoughts, Dan or Tim, on this segment here to wrap us up, and then we'll hand it back to BJ for next segment here as well too.
I think you've encapsulated it pretty well, Mark, but certainly, of course, I'll be here. So if there are questions for me or Tim, we're glad to field those as well.
So one of the things, add that no operator is too small for this event. So I think a lot of people come to BACE and they think that it's just the big operators and you have to have a massive booth to attend BACE and even in the safety forum. But I think the single pilot safety stand down truly speaks to that we're trying to encompass all of business aviation, because it's the small operators that make up, I believe, 70% of business aviation right now. It is a massive following. So it is a huge event. Please come out. It's going to be wonderful. BJ?
Yeah, well, I'm just going to check that bullet right off that I was going to talk about, Tim. You took the words right out of my mouth, so great job. You know, one of the things over the years now, having been on the committee for 10 years, is that I think one thing that Ed mentioned was being safe and then perceived to be safe. I do know from time to time there's a perception that the NBAA isn't active in safety, which from my perspective is just simply not true. It's really up to the organizational members to use the resources. I believe us as part of the safety committee, and of course Tim as part of the communications and safety promotions team, to get that word out. It's important, I believe, to get the messaging out, but also for us to be standing on the rooftops shouting the great resources that are available through the NBAA website alone, let alone these live events that happen around the country and at Las Vegas each and every year, or I should say wherever the NBAA base happens to be. I know it's at Las Vegas for a few years in a row, but it really is powerful. So let's go ahead and bring everybody back in. I'm going to bring Dan back in, Rosalie, and also everybody else. Make sure I'm not missing anybody. So we're kind of at the point where we would normally go to a Q&A. I think one of my questions would be, Dan, I answered this question of Ed about how, if you're going to have an elevator speech and talking to somebody about a single pilot safety stand down national safety forum, you had 30 seconds to communicate it to them. How would you do that? What would be your central message to get people that aren't familiar with the NBAA, aren't familiar with the event, excited about seeking out and finding ways to interface with the NBAA?
Yeah, I would say we've taken really the industry experts that have joined the safety committee, and they work all year to really promote business aviation safety and look from an operator specific perspective. You know, David Stilson with Kroger made a comment here. He's our working group lead for CFIT. You know, he partners with, you know, people from GE Digital and looks at how can we tackle this issue of CFIT and produces some just excellent content. So you're getting this unique perspective from the industry experts, the operators, how they're doing it, how they're implementing it, and how you can roll up your sleeves and use it. So it's really kind of a unique event, and I'd be excited for people to, you know, everyone to join us and consume that content.
Excellent. How about you, Mark? Anything you would share? You've been in this role for a long time, a lot longer than any of us.
Yeah, just I mean, it's exciting to see the development of all the resources and the passion that comes through from all of the committee members in all of that. And you know, very much the desire is, like I said, that it's designed to kind of meet people right where they are, whether you're flying single pilot and what that environment looks like, or whether you're flying two-pilot crews, domestically, internationally, all across the board. So all key pieces to really help move the safety go forward.
Excellent. Well, as we wrap things up, let's just go around the room one last time for final comments. Gil, anything to add? Then Rosalie.
Certainly. One point that we want to make sure we get across is that the National Safety Forum is not just intended for safety managers. We want to see everyone from the community there. It's one thing to bring some of the best minds out there in safety, but sometimes you learn as much from the questions than from the presentation. So we want to get perspectives. We want to get new ideas from charter sales executives because they're facing some challenges. And, you know, I've heard in the past at a different conference that safety begins at the point of sale or safety starts at scheduling. That couldn't be more true. And we need to be, again, we just need that collaboration with everyone across business aviation. And we're really excited about this event and we look forward to seeing everyone there. Excellent.
Thanks, Gil. Rosalie, then Tim.
Yeah, thanks, BJ. I think I'll just kind of build on what Gil said. The beauty of the safety committee, as many of you have mentioned, we've got over 80 members. And these are really sort of the boots on the ground of the industry from really all corners of the industry. So really this programming is designed by everyone from you know, single pilot jet operators to mentors. We have former airline pilots that own and operate their own single pilot turboprop aircraft. It's really from across the board. We're all very passionate about safety. We care a lot about bringing super high quality content to our peers in the industry. So maybe look at it that way, that this is a chance for all of us to get together, to think more deeply about how we become better at this craft of aviation, and walk away with some great takeaways for our quiver.
Excellent. Thank you, Rosalie. Tim? Then Mark.
Yeah, so while we're at the the National Safety Forum portion, the safety promotions team is going to be the eyes and the ears on the ground, basically. We wanted to take a journalistic approach to this session and all the sessions involved. So if you see us there, please reach out, come talk to us, tell us what you thought about the sessions, because we would like to put it in some content and use it for future promotions, but also to recap this wonderful event that we're having. So please reach out to me, come find me at BACE. I'd love to talk to you.
Excellent. Thanks, Tim. Mark, then Dan Bodenheimer. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, really, again, looking forward to all the engagement and the wonderful networking that takes place. The value of being in person at BACE with really all of the business aviation community there. Key, very, very much excited for that, and appreciate everyone's engagement and passion to put together what's going to be a great week of safety content at BACE. Thanks.
Excellent. Thanks, Mark. Dan Bodenheimer, then Dan Hubbard to wrap it up.
Awesome. And, I remember back to 2015, Marty Greer with Home Depot and Jim Hosey, an auditor in our industry, really said, let's really elevate those people who are doing it right, and created the Dr. Tony Kern Professionalism in Aviation Award. And so we're going to have some outstanding individuals that are being awarded that Thursday morning, along with 50-year, 60-year Safe Flying Awards. And that'll be part of the National Safety Forum Thursday morning. So we can really take, those people in the industry are doing it right, and see what skills they have that have made them successful, and looking at that positive aspect of safety. So I'm very excited for that.
Excellent. Thank you, Dan. Dan Hubbard, final thoughts?
Sure. We know that at the highest level, safety involves a lifetime of learning. You're never quite done. It's not the destination. And at NBAA BACE, it's a moment that is unique and unlike any other. And I think some of you have spoken to that. We draw the best experts at every level, and there's something for everyone, from the single pilot all the way up to the largest flight department. And it's not just about how that week allows us to access information from the experts. It's how it fosters peer-to-peer learning. There is no way to describe, unless you're there, what the meetings between the meetings look like, right? And you come away as much from what you get from your own peers as what you hear from the experts. And that's just not, there are very few moments like that anywhere else on the calendar year. So if it's given that safety is a core industry value, this is a week like no other to attend to that core value and give something to yourself and have an opportunity to give something to others.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to bring in one comment we have, I think, that sums up the importance of what we do here. It's not a question, but a statement from Nick from London. As having flown single pilot IFR in Europe to the 747 worldwide, I should have started my career in the left-hand seat of the 747. And when I was ready, really good, I should have been promoted to single pilot operations. They are without doubt the most difficult flying out there. I think that's a great way to put what we do in the safety committee. And I think as an organization in perspective, we try to serve from A to Z, but also important information that matters to everyone. So with that, I'd like to thank everybody that's joined us here live, and the many hundreds, if not thousands, of people that are going to be watching over the next few weeks with the recording. Thank you for your time. And for the folks here today, thank you, each and every one of you, for all the hard work you all do to support safety in your own way, whether it's on the committee, in your day job, or just from day to day, and all the safety conversations you have with fellow pilots. So thank you for that. And we will see you at BACE in a few weeks. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, BJ.